harmonized with nature, nature-based solutions. Before we begin, I would like to share with you about a wonderful opportunity that you can actually take advantage of. One of you can win a special prize provided by MasterCard right now. So here's the backstory. For 2 years, MasterCard has been partnering with the innovative Bulgarian company Pollenity in support of the Bulgarian beekeepers, authentic honey, and the cause of saving the bee population. This summer, the mission was joined by Maria Zekova, well known for her talent to seek and find consistent culinary inspiration in the Rhodope mountain. It's in the Rhodope mountain where Maria creates an unparalleled space to welcome all culinary connoisseurs. SHEleader. Thank you. SHEleader. I practiced it like a billion times. SHEleader. It's there where Maria is embarking on the journey to become a beekeeper before our eyes, backed up by MasterCard, Pollenity, and beekeepers from the Istinsky Med network. She will raise Apis mellifera rhodopica, a wild bee typical for the Rhodopes, which just a number of the bee farmers are keeping. Now, about you and the opportunity. In order to stimulate beehive adoption on the platform, MasterCard is creating a priceless opportunity to become one of the first visitors of magical SHEleader by adopting a beehive or buy honey with your MasterCard. For one of you today is a lucky day, because you're going to win a priceless dinner right now. Under one of the chairs in the room, there's a voucher from MasterCard and Istinsky Med. So now is the time to check beneath your seat. I'll be so happy if somebody waves the voucher in front of us. Otherwise, I have remembered the few empty chairs, so I'll start sitting on them and I'll get the voucher. Do we have a winner? Okay. You will have time by the end of the conference looking around under the chairs. It's a great opportunity, so don't miss it. Don't forget about it. I'll remind you. If the winner does find the voucher, he can reach out to us, to any of the organizers. Okay, so wait, do we have a winner? Woohoo! Can you please stand up so everybody can see it's real? Congratulations! Yeah, nice. Now back to the panel. Let's hear the perspective of a nature's preserver and a business person. I'm inviting to the stage Diana Dimitrova and Sergey Petrov. Please. You can take your seats. Diana Dimitrova is a conservation director at WWF Bulgaria. She is an experienced sustainability, environmental, and nature conservation leader with Ivy League education and 50+ years of experience in Bulgaria and in the US in consulting, corporate, NGO, and project management. Diana has a track record of successful management of complex multi-stakeholder public, corporate, and NGO projects. She is passionate about protecting nature and its treasures and helping organizations and communities to reduce their environmental footprint, work and live sustainably in harmony with nature. Now, Sergey Petrov, he's the founder of Pollenity, formerly known as BeeSmart Technology. He has an engineering degree in aeronautical engineering, and in 2013 he joined the prestigious graduate studies program at Singularity University in NASA Ames Research Park in California, US. He has a proven track record as an entrepreneur in establishing special concepts, now Endurosat, in 2013, and helping in the development of the Edinamo web design and solutions company. He has prior experience in the corporate world as part of multinational teams in X-Way and Global, now currently Yetel. Sergey has a passion for innovation, which has put him in many prestigious lists. He has won numerous awards, and while in 2013 being part of the educational program Space Challenges, where students are encouraged to use high technologies in order to solve significant problem, Sergey managed to follow up on his passion because he has always been intrigued by bees, which are nature's most important reproductive mechanism. When he found out what the effects of their extinction worldwide would be, he decided to put his knowledge and expertise into finding a solution to the problem. This is how the idea of an intelligent beehive system was born. Today, Pollenity's products help beekeepers across the world keep healthier and stronger bees, thanks to an unprecedented insights they get from their beehives. So, Diana, Sergey, can't wait to hear your discussion.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for this presentation. Well, when we were asked to join this wonderful event, Sasha Bezukhanova said that it would be good to start with what actually motivates us to take on the path of environmental protection, sustainability, and sustainable business. So I'm just going to start, and as always, it all starts back to the childhood. As many in my generation, I spent my summers in the village with my grandparents. My grandfather was a shepherd, so I would spend a lot of days with him grazing the sheep, and also with my grandmother growing vegetables. So I was deeply connected with nature, with the earth, and with its bounties. So later on, I went and studied biology in high school, and I joined an eco club, and I got really concerned with environmental pollution. This really motivated me to study chemistry at the Sofia University, and then to have a degree, master degree in environmental management at Yale University, where I really looked at the issue of environmental protection from various aspects: policy, business, and science, of course. As it was mentioned, over the last 15 years, I've been in different roles. I've been a consultant in the US and also here in Bulgaria. I've been an environmental manager of a large industrial facility. I was a manager of a small NGO, and in 2020 I joined WWF Bulgaria as the conservation director, and I'm really happy to be with WWF because we have a great team, very knowledgeable and motivated people, and we do a lot of great work for the nature of Bulgaria. Probably many of you are familiar with our work, so I'm not going to go in great detail, but just touch a little bit on the different aspects of our work. Our forest program focuses on protecting and restoring and also sustainably managing the forests in Bulgaria. Our freshwater program focuses on freshwater ecosystem protection and restoration with focus on wetlands and also some sections of the rivers in the Danube region. Our bear protection program focuses on of course, minimizing the conflict between bears and people so we can live in harmony, to improve the connectivity of habitats inhabited by bears, to improve the methodology with which bears are being monitored. So we have a consensus between the hunters and the environmental protection people, what is actually the size of the population. In our sturgeon protection program, we work on monitoring. We're the only organization who actually does monitor how many sturgeon are in the Danube River. We also work a lot with authorities, with fishermen. In our climate and energy program, we work a lot with, again, authorities, other NGOs and businesses to ensure that the legal, the financial, and the policy framework fosters the transition towards carbon neutrality by 2050 for Bulgaria, and doing so in a way so biodiversity is not harmed, which is kind of difficult and challenging. So there are many other things we do, but we're here to talk about nature-based solutions. And this is something that is really cross-cutting across all the programs that we do. And I'm really happy that this is actually the topic of today's conversation. So Sergey, I'm really curious to hear your path to today's discussion and to the business that you've established.
Yeah, certainly. So I would like to actually start with congratulating you on what you're doing, because before this discussion, we actually took about 2 hours to get to know each other, understand what we're all motivated by and stuff like that. So when I heard about what you're doing in your organization, it completely blew my mind. Like, you are doing so many things on so many levels. You're doing the job of the government, you're doing the job of everybody else who's not preserving nature. So please, WWF,
Well, thank you. Thank you so
I
much.
really wanted to do that because
It's
you're
the whole
not getting
team.
enough recognition, I think. Volunteer. You should subscribe to become volunteers in WWF Bulgaria. So for me, it's we started this company because it was just mind-numbingly strange, the fact that we can put a person on the moon, but at the same time we are not able to actually take care of one of the most important reproductive mechanisms of nature, the bees. So the bees are actually the thing that we have built the agriculture around. We sort of found the most efficient pollinator there is out there, and then we build the agriculture around it. So all the apples, all the pretty much 70% of all the food that you put on your table every day relies on the pollination of the honeybees, and yet we are hearing stories about how bees are getting extinct. Now, people really understand this. Now, people know about bees, people know about honey, they sort of tell their own stories, but we are not doing enough. And you especially can understand how complex the issue is and how complex it is to find a solution. But wearing a hat of an engineer, I thought to myself, okay, there has to be a technological way. So what I did is, back in 2013, I started reading about it. I started really researching a lot about bees and how can we help them. I sort of started putting different technologies together in order to find some sort of a solution to that grand challenge of humanity. And I came up with the idea of the intelligent beehive. Now, the intelligent beehive today is nothing as it was in my mind 10 years ago, but it was good enough to actually give me a scholarship to go and meet some very amazing people in the US, find out how we can further create different community strategies, technologies that can actually go together and create some synergetic solution to that particular challenge. So what motivates me is actually that I'm a huge nature fan. For the people from Sofia, I grew up in Lulin, which is pretty much a concrete jungle. So I had zero inspiration from there. We had like one tree and they cut it down. It was a famous tree.
That's a pity.
But obviously, the inspiration comes from, again, going to nature with my parents, spending time with my grandparents in the village, and really playing in the rivers, which were not that polluted back then, getting stung by bees, which were present, and yeah, I really love nature, and I think that it should be within the core of every human being. Actually, it is, but to some level, we have disconnected from that. Now we are actually, our generation is the one that is reconnecting with nature, which is sort of silly to actually put it out there, but it is. I mean, we are reconnecting with nature, but the good thing is that we heard a lot of examples today about corporate being connected to nature as well, and finding solutions to mitigate the problems with CO2 and all the wastefulness that is going on around. So I actually today received a little bit of motivation as well. But we have gathered today for this panel, and please do join us if you'd like. We have more than one seat available, as you see, to discuss the nature-based solutions. And I really want to go a step back and ask you to provide us with a definition of what exactly is a nature-based solution, and what do you probably, how do you inspire nature-based solutions through your organization?
I think it would be actually good to make maybe put out there a definition, because probably some of you have heard of this concept, others haven't. And although nature-based solutions have always been around, it is really nature solving its problems.
Back in the day, they were just solutions.
Exactly. This concept is kind of becoming more and more popular now, but some people still are not familiar with it. Basically, nature-based solutions, these are human activities that are inspired by nature, they're supported by nature, they're copied from nature, and those activities aim to solve either environmental, social, or economic challenges, or all of them. They're very often very cost-effective, and they have multiple benefits. They're becoming more and more widely used. So you probably wonder what types of nature-based solutions are out there, where there is different classifications depending on the criteria. So depending on the degree of intervention that we do, there are nature-based solutions with no or minimum intervention. These are, for example, the protection of old-growth forests. Another ones are with kind of managing sustainably ecosystems. Third ones are really actually restoring very degraded ecosystems. In terms of the ecosystem and landscape that is being targeted by nature-based solutions, there can be solutions for urban landscapes, solutions for coastal landscapes, solutions for agricultural landscapes. If we talk about the different problems that nature-based solutions solve, they can be classified as nature-based solutions for carbon capture, for storing carbon and helping fight climate change, nature-based solution for water management, for reducing flood risks, for example, for also climate adaptation, for providing cooler environment both in cities but also in rivers. I'll give an example in a second. Nature-based solutions for participatory governance and planning, because this is also important. Nature-based solutions that provide green jobs and also sustainable living for the communities. So there are different types of nature-based solutions, and I'll give one example of a nature-based solution that we've been implementing for quite some years. This is actually the restoration of riparian forests. Riparian forests, these are forests along the rivers. They're very important for nature, but also for us, for people. Over the last 10 years, we've restored about 1,000 acres, which is the size of 140 soccer fields. If this rings a bell better than the deckers. What we do, we identify very degraded areas along rivers. We negotiate with the owners and make sure that this land is used long-term for forests. Then we do a lot of designing and planning, making sure that we design a forest that is viable, that is diverse. It's not like rows of trees of the same species. It's a mixture of species and depend on the topology and other factors. We collect local seeds. We grow seedlings, we plant them, and for 3 to 5 years, we take care of them. We water them, we weed them, we protect them to make sure that a real forest is created. And our latest place where we do that, it's along the Maritsa River in Stambuliski. So what are the benefits of this nature-based solution? One of the benefits is that it actually protects the shores from erosion. It purifies the water runoff from the agricultural fields that are rich with nutrients. It cools the water in the river, so there is more oxygen in it, which means more fish, which is good for the biodiversity. It's also good for the fishermen. It stores carbon. It also helps prevent flood risks. If it's not in a protected...
Which is quite important right now.
It is very important.
We just got a glimpse of what will happen if we don't preserve our water resources in central Bulgaria, and it's devastating.
It is devastating indeed. There are other benefits as well to biodiversity. Such riparian forests, they're home to many different bird species and other animal species. They're usually biocorridors between protected areas. They can be source of wood, etc., if they're not protected themselves. So there are many, many benefits, and if such benefits are to be provided by man-made structures, they would cost millions and millions, and they would not be so effective and so flexible. So nature really works to provide those benefits. But I'm really curious, and I think it would be useful for everybody to hear beekeeping as a nature-based solution, because indeed this is what it is.
Well, yeah, in our organization, we like to say that our mission is to create sustainable beekeeping across the globe. And we are doing this in a few different ways, let's say. The organization itself is built on 3 different pillars. So first of all is the technology, then it's the best practices in business, because we're business people, so this is how we tackle the problem. We come from this angle, like it could actually make money to preserve nature and to reconnect with nature. So we teach beekeepers how to do that as well. And the third thing is literally academia and education. So in the first one, it was already mentioned that we are constructing intelligent beehives. So basically, we are helping beekeepers better understand their bees. Now, that's not really a nature-based solution, but it's needed in order to restore nature where it's not present. And to give you an example of this, in the US, where else, of course, everything is getting like clustered together. So whenever somebody becomes a farmer, it doesn't mean that he's looking after 2 rows of tomatoes and then some cucumbers and stuff like that. It's actually hectares over hectares of just one particular species. Like, let's get an example of the almonds in California. So maybe you don't know, but 80% of all the almonds are from California. So that's a high-value product, and of course, it needs pollination. Now, almonds need 100% pollination by bees. No other insect pollinates that particular tree. So what the Americans do is they have one of the biggest fields, which is bigger than the Sophia field, actually, with just almonds. Beautiful, right? But for bees, that's a desert. So almonds would flower for just 2 weeks. And after those 2 weeks, it's green, but bees have no pollen, no nectar there. So there's no reason for bees to be there. And what Americans did is they put it on trucks. They put tens of thousands of beehives on trucks, and they go across from North Carolina, to the most south points of California, and they start pollinating almonds.
Yeah, I've watched the movie. It's really impressive. I couldn't believe my eyes.
It's ridiculous what it is, but to some degree it is impressive. Yeah, they are actually finding a solution how to navigate away from nature-based solutions, right? So they constantly provide pollination as a service. That's a complete disconnect from what we're used to, because bees are offering this service for free. Now we get them, we put them in a box, we put them on a truck, and we start moving them around just to get some value out of them. Yeah. That's ridiculous. I mean, that's completely ridiculous, and that's a glimpse of our future if we are not thinking sustainably. So we decided that all those people need a way to understand their bees better, because now they are just businessmen. Those beekeepers, they are in logistics, they hire people, they do everything but not care about bees, because it's very lucrative.
Operation.
Yeah, it's just a resource, and they can sort of capture it from nature and put it in a box. So our technology aspect is let's give more information about how bees are feeling, how bees are progressing, if they are productive enough, if they're healthy enough. And this is using technology that's coming directly from the hive. So unprecedented information directly in the palm of the beekeeper, so he knows or she knows what exactly to do and where to do it exactly. So yeah, that's the technological part, but the more interesting part is how we actually connect with beekeepers, and this is something that we're doing locally in Bulgaria. We have this adopt a hive concept. So that's our way of actually educating the community about why bees are important and how bees are kept. So the Adopt a Hive idea is just you get to our website at Istinski.met and you like a beekeeper. We have all the beekeepers with their bios there, so you just go through them and say, okay, I like Daniela from Schumann. She's a nice lady and she's a mathematician. Actually, she's my favorite beekeeper. Yeah, I'm subscribed to her. Even though I'm a beekeeper myself, I'm also subscribed to her because she's just so lovable. But when you find the beekeeper that you like, you can just connect with him or her. And through that, you start receiving their 100% genuine honey, of course. But also, you start understanding more about the bees because Daniela is going to be updating you about what is happening with the hive. And you can actually go and visit Daniela with your family. So it's going to be a nice day out for you, but actually your kids are going to learn where honey comes from, why bees are important, and it's going to happen in a way that they actually going to remember. It's not going to be a lesson in classroom, right? So this is
Definitely subscribing to go with my son.
Yeah, please. You can even come next to Sofia, where my beehives are. Everybody's welcome. That's an extended invitation to everybody here. So we do that, and actually the good idea here became better when we incorporated like corporations in that. So we also allow corporations to adopt beehives, but we really try to stay away from greenwashing. So greenwashing is something that we're not talking about enough in Bulgaria. So we actually want to provide tangible solutions of corporations helping the small communities, the endangered species, in this particular case, the bees. And this is something that they really love. They really adopt the concept. Like with MasterCard, what just happened, MasterCard is an amazing partner of ours that are helping us along the way. And I was actually surprised by this little game here. I didn't know it's going to happen, but kudos. I mean, this is the sort of inspiration that you may get when you have synergy with somebody. Even with a corporation, they sort of want to help you develop your business and practices.
Yeah, this is happening more and more, and which is good.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would like to see that happening more and more because greenwashing, like planting trees, just putting a tree in the ground is not going to cut it. I mean, what you're doing, for example, like when you plant a tree, it actually needs certain care before it becomes a sustainable tree. Certain very big care that is needed. You cannot just put a tree in the ground and hope for the best because that's wasting resources, is what it is. And just to finish up in this segment, we also work with a lot of universities to define what technologies could bring for the future of beekeeping. And just one quick example, we're working with the University of Berlin, who are creating this robot. The robot is actually performing a dance. That's also related to the previous panel discussion with art, because art is in nature as well. We can find inspiration from nature, and obviously engineers can find inspiration as well, because those guys, what they're doing is bees communicate the presence of nectar in the wild through dance, right? Maybe you didn't know that. So they build a robot that replicates that dance, and it actually allows them to navigate bees away from fields where we have certain contaminants or pesticides. So that's a particularly interesting thing, like putting a robot inside the beehive. That's one of the things that's
innovation.
Very inspiring.
Yes.
We also have this beekeeping university, and I want to tell you a little bit more about it, maybe a few moments later, but very interestingly there, we had a lot of women who decided to apply for that university. We just ran the first iteration in the spring. We're super happy that we actually have more than 30 graduates, one of which is already on our program. So he's putting his beehives for adoption. So I'm very proud of that. But we're doing just one.
I think
small-
they're hinting
Sergey.
that we're talking too much.
I'm so I know all of the examples are wonderful, and we thank you so much. But since we're dealing with the time
Okay.
schedule and everything, I hope you're gonna stay for the cocktail part, or at
Yeah,
least
absolutely.
for this break here, because I'm sure everybody in the audience would like to continue to talk with you. I'm personally a huge fan of both
Yeah,
of
come
your
find me.
initiatives, so sorry to cut you like that, but we need to stick to the schedule. So
Okay.
a round of applause for Sergey and Diana. Thank you.